From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Monday, September the 18th edition of For the People, hour number 2. In some places, if you've just heard the news and coming back, some stations carry the first hour, some the second hour, some both hours. That's all right, because they're standalone hours. And stations know what that means, but basically it works. We don't do exactly the same thing. We try not to anyways. By the way, today is an exciting day in case you did not hear. If you've not been on our website, Share-a-thon 2017. Now, it is an opportunity for you to be able to really get involved with the broadcast. Now, we have done some initiatives, get Chuck an iPad, which was cool. We relaunched about 3 years ago. We're doing the control room, but we've never officially done anything kind of to this caliber of calling it a quote-unquote share-a-thon. Because, you know, I've worked for organizations. We've raised money for Food for the Poor, Christian music stations that, had an operating budget of like over $100,000 a year, for several stations across the country. Our goal, our initiative is modest. It's $5,000, so we're not talking a ridiculous amount of money. Basically, the reason we do it that way is because we're not greedy. We're listener supported. We do things on a shoestring budget. But when we need to do this twice a year, we'll do this probably towards the fall and towards the spring to keep things going for advertising initiatives, affiliate relations, things like that, and for equipment. Equipment breaks down. We have to pay for things, engineering costs, things like that. And initiatives, if you did not hear the first hour, I'm going to kind of set this up again. So I went to see Chuck this weekend, yesterday, as a matter of fact, to Gainesville, Florida, from Tampa, Florida. It's a little trek, but well worth it. And I was saying, Chuck, remember when you kicked off Project USA? Oh, he goes, yeah, absolutely. And I said, well, that was just phenomenal. I really loved what you did there, and I was thinking we need to do something like that. And I've talked about it here and there over the years, but I really feel like somebody needs to do something. And you ever have a flash bulb go off in your head, where you just get that stroke of genius, kind of like Back to the Future when Emmett Brown, what did he come up with a flux capacitor? When he hit his head on the porcelain and then he drew the flux capacitor. And that's what makes time travel possible. I came up with a project just made in the USA. And basically, it has to be sort of like an Amazon, but an Amazon that distributes just made in the USA products. And that's what Project USA was all about. So, fast-tracking it, 1996 or 7 that was kicked off. So this many years later, and Bruce Williams supposedly did something, but it just never made it. And we're working on putting a platform together on the internet with programmers from USF and talking with some key people that are pretty well-known that could be our spokespeople for it. But it's, I got 3 different business plans that I'm kind of thinking about. One of them would be to have 25 people that would be stockholders. Now, you don't have to go to public, but you can raise a certain amount of money, and then these 25 people really own the company, more or less. And so that's how that could happen. The other one would be distributorship, where people would buy into it, and kind of like franchise, and they would get paid, for selling the products and stuff like that's what Chuck was kind of doing. So you could do it that way, or you could have big league investors invest, and you could go about it that way. So there's so many. The bottom line is we're going to come up with something that makes sense for this broadcast and for my time, my energy, my resources, and yours too. But I'll keep you further posted on it. But this is one of the things that we're working in the background. And that's one of the things that I want to see to fruition, to make happen, because we really do need to start making things again. And we are making things again. I'm proud to say it's not just My Pillow that's made in the USA, or New Balance. There's other, Coleman, is the USA. But other companies that if you knew who they were and where you could buy, you probably would buy Made in the USA. So our initiative, Just Made in the USA, you're going to be hearing a lot more about that in the coming months and years ahead. But we'd love for you to certainly be involved with that. And how you can do that with our Share-a-thon 2017 kickoff is by listening to this promo and asking yourself, what can I do to get behind this broadcast to keep things going, and initiatives such as Just Made in the USA going. So go ahead. We're going to kick off our promo and officially set it up today. It's Share-a-thon, and that means it's time to help For the People stay on the air. Your giving keeps the freedom of the air a possibility. For the People is listener supported, and only by its listeners are we able to bring you all the news each and every day with common sense, along with a conservative point of view. Help us be a voice of reason in a troubled world, and make a donation today at forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. It's your show, and we work hard to give you all the news and information that you need, with commentary and insights you just don't get on the mainstream media. No fake news, just reality, so you can live your life in the know. Share-a-thon is your opportunity to get behind For the People. Give securely online at forthepeopleshow.com. It's Share-a-thon. Help For the People now at forthepeopleshow.com. Thanks for your support. A voice of reason in a troubled world. I think that kind of summarizes, when I was writing that promo, summarizes what we endeavor to do with For the People. We do live in a troubled world. There's a lot of things that happen, sometimes very hard to understand, but if you live in the land of reality, you want to know what's going on so you can act accordingly, plan accordingly. And even if you're not a planner, it's okay. We'll help you through life. We're all going through it, this journey. And if you listen to our jingle, it kind of explains what For the People does. We're on this journey together, and we call it For the People. That's our broadcast. If you're new to our broadcast, and if this resonates with you, really like our speed, you like our style, and if you haven't listened to For the People in a long time and you're saying, wait a second, that's not Chuck Carter. No, it's Keith Allen. And I worked with Chuck back at the Telford Hotel. My dad put him on in New York back in the 80s. And Chuck asked me to take over the broadcast several years ago. Due to health problems, he's in a nursing home, but is aware of what we're doing. Knows about the iPad, just was out of it yesterday, and but we're going to have to go back and show him how to use it. But he has it, and very excited about the possibilities. Just under the weather himself, and believe it or not, I'm a little under the weather myself too. But feeling a little better. I took some of that Theraflu stuff. I don't even know if I have the flu. It could be. The chills and, sneezing a lot, congestion. It sounds like the flu, or aches a little bit. It could be the flu. And that stuff tastes nasty. You ever put that stuff in a mug? It just, it doesn't sit right. But I'll tell you what, I was out like a light last night. After I drank that, they put something in it. I didn't put a little something in my mug. No, that was Theraflu. I don't do that. I'm just not a drinker. A little drink here, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. A little wine here and there. I'd like good wine, good company, some cheese, a little something, finger foods and stuff like that. Yeah, That's what I'm talking about. Now, less than 2 weeks after Irma left a path of destruction not only in the Caribbean but throughout Florida, Tropical Storm Maria strengthened. And guess she's not a tropical storm anymore. Did you hear she's a hurricane? She's a Cat 1, but she could become a 3 in no time at all. 140 miles east-northeast of Barbados with maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. But let's go to the National Hurricane Center. Let's see with an update on this storm, which really is unbelievable. Category 3 already, actually. This thing is intensified a lot faster than a lot of the meteorologists thought so, but they did see intensification happening, but it's quick. Yep, it continued to turn towards the Leeward Islands, Eastern Caribbean. The path forecasters say was likely to threaten Puerto Rico, perhaps becoming the worst storm to hit the island since 1928. I know some really awesome people in Puerto Rico with businesses and nice families. This would be a shame, and I hope this is not going to be the case here. They say that the trek of Maria, and anything can change, as we saw here in the Tampa Bay area. It can jog more to the west, as we saw, more to the east, less to the west. Key West devastated. The island's devastated. But this could be a storm that we could be dealing with. They say this could bring it into the United States, into Florida again. Too early to tell just yet what's going to happen. But Jeb Bush, our former governor, weighed in and said, we need to watch her. This is an extremely active season. And so we definitely have our guard up here. And just as I'm actually unpacking things, because remember, we were expecting winds here to 180 miles per hour. So we had the closets and cabinets taped up, pictures taken down, windows boarded up. I mean, we just, we were ready for it. That's what we were told to do. We did it. Just crazy. And I know a lot of people are feeling the same way. And we are grateful that we didn't have the storm surge. Saddened to our friends further from the south that have had some issues, and people even to the north in Jacksonville had flooding and businesses that were destroyed or damaged severely. But it's just an inconvenience more than anything. But thankful to be alive, thankful that For the People's Studios weren't underwater. Nobody's houses were underwater here on the Bay Area, but we're not out of it. We still could be dealing with one of these hurricanes. So God have mercy. We really just don't need another one of these, nor does anybody need one of these. But this is what we're contending with, folks. And I pray for the relief efforts in the Keys. It breaks your heart to see it. Samaritan's Purse, by the way, great place to go to give for their initiatives, to be able to help out what they're doing to help these people just get some right footing. And some food and some shelter and clothes on their back to try to just make some, because there's nothing left in the Keys. Hardly anything left. I mean, damaged, destroyed, mostly damaged. Got over 80% of the houses or destroyed. It's just nothing left hardly. And I knew some great houses in the Keys and would just love to visit, and some friends down there, and just great summers. Anybody know where the Curry Mansion is? Neat place. Neat place. I actually did a radio broadcast back in the 90s from there, from Chuck's network. Yeah, from the Curry Mansion. And supposedly, maybe somebody can tell me, but they told me, and maybe they were just, giving me a little tale, but the key lime pie, the original recipe, came from that kitchen. Key West, key lime, so who knows? But they say from that kitchen, from the Curry Mansion. They were boasting it from their kitchen, and I was standing in the kitchen as they were telling it. It sounded compelling. Of course, I was in my 20s, a little naive. Do I even admit that? But I was like, it made sense at the time. But now, as I think, that's what age does to you. Cynical?